Hi, I'm Scott with Legacy Land Pros. Here I do all of our landscape sales and 3D design. The 3D design is my favorite part of the job for sure. It allows me to be involved with the project from start to finish, which is always fulfilling. And it allows me to be creative because every job is different, every design is different. So it's a service that we can provide to our customers to really help visualize what the project's going to look like. So I'm going to walk you through my design process of how it all starts. It starts with an initial on-site meeting with the client. This particular design that I'm going to show you is one that I've recently completed already, but I've broken it down into layers to kind of show you the step-by-step process of how I do a design. So this customer, we met on site. This is their backyard. He has an existing patio and a fire pit. And what he wants to do is build some raised planter beds around the patio, and then a newer, lower section down here with a new patio. There's about a 2-foot elevation change from the house to the corner of the patio, so this is all going to be an elevated planter retaining wall box. So we take a look at the job site when we meet, take some measurements, and I take a lot of photos. That way I can help get a good, proper build out of the house and the backyard for the 3D design. So we see the house here. That's the existing backyard. Then we go over to my design software. I use Real-Time Landscape Architect, and it basically starts with a fresh open grid of a landscape, just like a fresh backyard. First thing I do is I build out the house to scale, and I've layered everything out for you so the house comes first. And we'll show you what the house build out looks like once we start that. And boom, there's the house. Not too bad. So then we can see the different elevations that I've mapped out here a little bit. We're going to start by adding what's already existing, so the patio will come next. We have this existing patio, and there's that. Now we're going to go and build the retaining wall planter boxes next. We'll pop those in there. So that's kind of the scope right now of where we are. He also wanted steps coming down off this corner here to the new patio, as well as steps for access to the backyard. So we're going to plop the steps in. And there's our steps now. Now inside the planter beds, he wants black mulch, and he already has an existing mulch bed up against the house. So we'll add our mulch. Now we have mulch beds. We're going to remove the grid just to get a little bit more clear representation of what this is looking like. So now the next step would be adding the new lower patio section that he wants added. Now we've got our new patio. Access from the upper patio, steps, and into the backyard. So now we've got a pretty good layout of what this design is really going to look like, and now the customer can really see what it's going to look like with the planter boxes, mulched, new patio, and it's really all starting to come together now. So now we can start adding a couple things to beautify the design. We're going to throw some plants in the mulch. Now we've got plants. Now it's really starting to look like a backyard. A few more things I always do for some finishing touches just to really bring it all together is add a lot of accessories just to make it look more realistic to what it's going to be. So now we've got our patio furniture, new table. He was going to add a hot tub, which we've got planted in the design over there. And there's our 3D design from start to finish. Then we propose this to the customer with a second follow-up meeting. And once the contract is signed and the proposal is accepted, the design becomes theirs, and then we build it for you and the project comes to life. That's my 3D design process here at Legacy.